I welcome all of you to this Garbeta UPSC channel. And today I have with me Pratik Korde, who has secured All India rank 638, which is a great achievement. And as all those aspirants who are preparing for this examination knows, that coming in the list itself is a huge achievement. And what Pratik has achieved is incredible. He has gone through his ups and downs, what every aspirant goes through, definitely. And he'll be talking more about his journey as well, about how he faced those lows and he came out successfully, right, into this attempt. So I welcome you, Pratik, and first of all, heartiest congratulations to you and your family members.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So how are you feeling now? Cloud
I'm
nine?
feeling really, not really, sir, but I'm really feeling very good. I'm feeling very filled with energy, and I'm feeling so much energetic that I have been sleeping just 3 to 4 hours
Oh my
last
God.
15 days. So
Yes.
it feels like my battery is all charged up.
Fantastic. Actually, to talk more about Pratik, he is also a sports person, and you'll always see him smiling. And one of his WhatsApp status is also that be the reason someone smiles, be the reason someone feels loved and believes in the goodness of people. And I guess that also reflects his personality, which has brought him to this success. And I'm sure that he will take this personality along with him into serving India. Right. So, Pratik, let's start with your journey. How did you get inspired into this examination? Who was the role model, and what kind of inspired you to join this civil services?
So I took decision to pursue into the civil services in 2009.
Mhm.
Prior to that, as my father was also in army, I wanted to make him proud. And for that, I gave CB, I gave FCAT, I cleared those examinations. I went to SSB interview a lot of times, and, but I could not make it to the final. So it was like success was eluding me in a way,
Mhm.
but I didn't know that something bigger was waiting for me.
Yes.
2019, when I came back from one of an SSB interview, that moment changed my life. That was, I think, the turning point of my life when I decided that what line of career I need to pursue. And that was the moment I decided to go for civil service. And since then, I started studying. I had wasted two of UPSC attempts because of I don't know what reason. And in third attempt, I cleared the GS cutoff, paper one cutoff, but I missed. And that was a very low point because now it was a failure, and a
Mhm.
lot of failures were there in the basket. So that, in a way, was always acting as an hindrance, uh, acting as a speed breaker, and
Mhm.
a lot of lows were there. As you mentioned, sir, that UPSC aspirant goes through very highs
Yes.
and lows, and for me, it was largely low. So that, in a way, was eating. But then in 2021, I decided that okay, I have studied enough and I should give one more. And I gave it. In that attempt, I cleared it. I went to write main, but due to some health conditions, it was I missed the main. And similar thing happened in the next year, or like this UPSC
Mhm.
attempt. I was admitted to an hospital uh, 15 days back. So
Mhm.
I was feeling like everything is working against me. So in a way, it was like I was trying to find a high, and all I was getting was low. But then when list came and I got rank, partially I was happy about it. I'll be very honest.
Mhm.
But I know that my journey still continues, and there is still a long way that I need to.
Definitely.
If I talk about my role models, I believe there is no better role model than your parents in your life. Because for me, I personally can say that my father have made thousands of sacrifices, and I'm certain that your parents have done it for you. And that is something what a true role model does. And yeah, we try to find our role model outside in the outside world. We try to take inspiration from them. But at a time, we have to think that who is that particular person who actually cares about us,
Yes,
who have
absolutely.
sacrificed his desires, his wills, his wishes, just so that I could or you could uh, get what we want.
Yes.
However unnecessary that is, and however necessary was that for him.
Mhm.
That gap is something which made me believe that yes, that's my parents who are always going to be my role model for the rest of my life.
Yes, that's so heartening to know, right? That our parents are role models, right? The first role models for all of us. And instead of always seeking, I mean, I'm sure we all have our other role models as well, but to keep our parents in our sight because of the sacrifices, the love, right? And I always say that the success, first of all, we should dedicate to our family members because they are the ones who are always at the forefront. They have seen our journey in spite of the fact when, as you rightly mentioned, you had been through the lows, when the debts were high, you were thinking that ab hoga nahi hoga, and that is the moment when they give us the hope, right? They support us through all these years when so many others are working in other careers, right? You feel that FOMO. I guess everyone in this
Yes,
UPSC field feels that FOMO कि बाकी लोग आगे जा रहे हैं, मेरा क्यों नहीं हो रहा? So my, one more question will be additional into that is, how did you pull yourself out of these, depressing thoughts? Because I'm sure every UPSC aspirant, including myself when I was one, we all seek some kind of inspiration. Like I used to watch some movies, I used to read books. We have a great inspiration just behind you in the form of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, listening to his tales. So, what more did you do to pull yourself out of this negativity and push yourself into this positivity?
so it is very easy to say, and it is near impossible to do because
Mhm.
till yesterday, uh, till the result was not declared, my situation wasn't so great.
Mhm.
I was also in the same bus or same boat that millions of aspirants are currently or were
Yes.
part. What I did or what I used to do, a lot of time it used to backfire. For example, when I used to watch a web series or a movie, then there used to be a guilt that see I have wasted 3 hours, I have wasted 6 hours, I have wasted 9 hours, and now that guilt used to eat me up again.
Mhm.
And so that is something which acted against me whenever I used to watch movies. But that did not demoralize me. I used to watch the movies because that is we are human and we need some sort of
Yes.
refreshment.
Yeah.
And I am a sports person, so
Yeah.
I used to
Definitely.
take my bicycle and go for 20 kilometers, or for this, I used to take nothing and then go for 10 kilometers run.
I think
Or
that is one
that
of the best antidepressants, I would say, to be physically active, right?
yes, and that also helps you get good nap.
Yeah.
So it gives you, it charges you for the next fight, next morning that you're going to start. And then badminton, swimming, and whenever I used to get time, my favorite one is so. Whenever I used to get time, I would invest back in my
Mhm.
done. I have to watch something. So if I have time, I would do anything which is not academic. That is how I try to keep myself motivated. But
Yeah.
this was also a lot of time it wouldn't work. So
Mhm.
it's like you have to focus on the process. You have to work harder, uh, and you have to believe in whoever you believe in.
Yes.
You should be consistent. You should be hardworking. There is no alternative to that. And surround yourself by those people who truly love you, truly cares about you, uh, are your well wishers,
Mhm.
and try to avoid a lot of unnecessary interaction through social
Mhm.
media.
Right.
So once that thing goes off, once you are cut cut down from the social media, you do not know what is going on in lives of your friends, like whether they are buying your favorite bike, your favorite car,
Yeah,
or your type of houses that you want. So once that FOMO, fear of missing out, that is gone, and that will go when you will cut that sever your ties with your social media.
yeah,
Only use social media or phone in such a way that you are using it, not the other way around.
right.
A lot of time it happens that we get consumed by uh, reels, we get consumed by
Absolutely.
a lot of things. One of my friend who is IAS, so whenever we used to talk, he always used to say this thing, ki, Pratik, I do not carry my phone to library because I am so much addicted to reels that if I start it, I will scroll it till 2 3 hours and I don't know. So
Yeah.
what he used to do, he would go to the library in the morning and he would keep that phone in home. He would come
Mhm.
back by 12 whenever he had to take his lunch. He would check his phone and then he again would go back without his.
I think that's
So
very important. Sacrifice, right?
yes, sir. That's the
Mhm.
sacrifice. That's the power of it.
Yes. And one more word you use is consistency. I think
Yes.
consistency, discipline, and the ability to sacrifice your, instant gratification which we get from social media and the distraction is extremely important. Yes, there are aspirants I know who use social media constructively, but that requires a different level of talent. Like, let's say you're just following some of the officers who might share some important information, right? Or you're staying updated with the important pages which are there, which share some data. But the important aspect is don't get sucked into this virtual world, which will eat up your time and waste a lot of your thought effort. So kudos to you for doing that. I would say I would now ask you about prelims because that is the uh, first. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll now come to prelims, which is one of the most difficult hurdles these days. If you have gone through the 2023 examination and after this 2023 prelims, yeah, absolutely. So can you share your thoughts about how you cleared prelims in the previous few attempts, right? Because that is one of the biggest question marks which aspirants are now faced. And what did you do to clear prelims? Yes,
Uh, Sir, I'll tell you one honest strategy.
yes. This is
And
a very
I
honest
am
interview we are having. So,
yes, and
yes.
I'll tell you this will work on 100% of the aspects,
Hmm.
provided the person is willing to do.
Right.
You have to get the test series whichever available you have.
Hmm.
Get 100 test series. You have to do 30 sectional, 30 subjective, and then 30 FLTs and 10 CSAT.
Hmm.
Now, after doing these test series, you have to revise them at least 3 times. So you
Correct.
start by January.
Hmm.
So one test series should minimum take 6 hours of yours.
Hmm.
2 hours for writing the test and 4 hours for analyzing the test.
Right.
And any coaching material that is providing, they will be providing the quality resources which will be relevant, which will have current affairs, which will be relevant for the today's examination. So whatever the material you're doing, you're revising your general studies.
Hmm.
At the same time, you're using the quality resources and you're also brushing up your current affairs. So
Yeah.
that is one thing that you have to do, and you have to revise this test series for 3 times,
Hmm.
provided you're not missing up upon the feedback part,
Hmm.
because that's equally important. Uh, my third prelims, I failed it because of that reason. Because I had studied, I had 100% given my dedication to GS, and that paid me off. I cleared GS, and then I checked off the cutoff from the CSAT, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's something. That's the area where I have failed. So even today, like our interview ended on 8th, result came on 18th, and prelims were on 28th.
Absolutely.
So still, uh, I didn't had any time to study for GS, and I solved the paper. So
Hmm.
I got 62 correct.
Hmm.
So it was like I only did 30 test series. Just on the 9th when medical was over, I got some of the FLTs and I started reverse engineering.
Yeah.
I started to pick the quality material, quality current affairs from
Hmm.
the back of the test series. So go for reverse
So I
engineering.
think test series is
And
extremely important. That's what you
test
mean.
series is extremely important,
Yeah.
and that also helps you setting mind.
Yes.
Secondly, You should be thorough with your NCRT. You have
Right.
to complete your basic, because if you don't have NCRT, then you can't go to the test series. First, clear
Absolutely.
NCRT, then you have to go to thing.
Hmm.
Second, go for any newspaper analysis which are available online.
Yeah.
Go for Indian Express and the Hindu. So it hardly takes 1 hour for both the papers if you go with
Hmm.
2x speed. So that will also suffice for your current affairs. You don't need to do additional things.
Hmm.
Uh, Apart from that, what I personally did was that there were free materials which were coming. For example, कुछ test 365 आ जाता है.
Hmm.
So use it for the selective purpose. जैसे environment के लिए we can use,
Hmm.
uh, economy के लिए we can use it for policy, but not for
Right.
the other subjects. So just go for these. So
Yes.
we don't have to complicate the thing. The problem what students do now, they'll go and they'll buy 100 test series and they'll not complete the 100 test series.
Yeah, that's true.
Forget about revision once, forget about the revision twice, forget about the revision thrice. So even if I tell that this is a mantra that you can follow and you can do, I'm 100% sure 99% of the students will be happy to ignore it and they will be going with any strategy which will uh, be easy but might not yield the result.
I think this is a very important point you made, because unless you come out of your comfort zone and
Exactly.
don't, push yourself beyond what your mind says, that is the point you're going to, succeed only once you push yourself. And it's a beautiful point you made, that unless you don't push yourself, that is where most of the aspirants fail down, right? Because the first part we all do as aspirants is become a material collector rather than,
Yes.
right? That is always a old
We,
joke which everyone shares in the
we
UPSC
want to
circles.
be a collector. We want to be
Yeah,
a collector, but initially we become notes collector.
yeah, notes collector, precisely that. So don't be a notes collector. Also ensure that you implement them and thoroughly revise them and analyze where you're missing out on the marks.
Right.
So, and NCRT, because this prelims also tells you another fact, that no matter what resources you study, NCRT always will be the bedrock of your preparation on which you will build the foundation. So that's
Yes.
so true. What would you say about CSAT? How did you prepare for the CSAT? Now I know it's getting tougher and tougher by the day, and UPSC, I don't know what they're trying to achieve by making it more tough to even achieve 66. But what would you say based on the previous two successes you had on CSAT?
I will first request UPSC that please let it be a qualifying paper.
Yeah,
And it, because I personally saw the paper and it is getting a lot of complex and that is
yeah,
happening every day.
that's true.
Uh, that is extremely right. You have to focus on paragraphs. My biggest
Mhm.
strength was paragraph. That
Comprehensions, yeah.
uh, yes. So I know that there are 80 questions and I require 27 questions to clear the cutoff.
Mm.
And there are over I think 35, around 35 paragraphs based questions. So instead of giving 1 minute and 30 seconds to 80 questions, my focus was that I give 4 minutes to one question per season,
Mhm.
and I only focus on the comprehension part.
Okay.
And I don't need to go for 60 or 70 target. I will target around 40 questions. So
Mhm.
that first, on every question, I will have more than 3 minutes. And as
Yes.
this is a qualifying paper, uh,
Mhm.
even if I make a lot of questions, which will be good, but
Yeah.
if a lot of questions goes wrong,
Mhm.
then that is something which will act against anyone. So
Yeah.
for me, my basic strategy was focus on the paragraphs, and for that, go for previous year question paper. And there is no better paragraph than UPSC's own paragraph from the last year. Just
Yes.
that was something I used to do.
Okay, so that's important, that you know your strengths, right? Many of the aspirants who are preparing for CSAT also tell me, sir, we are going to focus on comprehension, or we are going to focus on reasoning, right? So find your own niche. At the same time, try to, solve as many as you can within your strengths, I would say, right? Instead of getting at the safe score, at least try to attempt those many questions which will give you above par, right? So that's, I guess, and analyzing previous year's question will be equally fruitful, I would say. Like last 4 to 5 years question, if you solve, I guess that should be helpful for your CSAT, I would say, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's something I hope Pratik's guidance will help you for prelims. let's come to the mains where the biggest battle is fought, right? Uh, I know you would love to have scored more in essay, and let me tell you to all those who are watching this uh, interview that only because of essay, I feel that Pratik missed out on the top rank. But apart from that, he has done brilliantly in all the other GS subjects. Optional, he has like mastered it like anything. And I'll be asking more questions about that because I was given a lot of questions. Ki, sir, please ask Pratik about especially his GS and anthropology where he has scored excellent. So I know you would love to add more value in your upcoming attempts if you are giving for getting to 100 times. So can you tell me your journey about how you prepared for the GS subjects
Yes.
first? Hmm.
So immediately when you're written the prelims, go for any few answer keys and see
Hmm.
whether you're getting it or not.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get it, you pick up your optional and ethics and make sure that you're finishing it one reading or two reading in 15 days. Both your subjects are done.
Hmm.
So you start with ethics. That should take around 3 to 4 days that you complete everything.
Hmm.
Uh, your first reading at least in 3 days,
Hmm.
that will be sufficient. 4 to 5 days for any optional paper one and 5 days for paper two. So unless and until your results come, which usually takes 20-25 days, UPSC takes to declare the result.
Hmm.
So what a person can do is in this 25 days, he can master on his ethics and his options. Now the results is declared and gladly you have made it.
Hmm.
So now you have to focus on those areas which are low hanging
Hmm.
and which will yield a lot of marks. For example, society, social justice,
Hmm.
governance, internal security, disaster management, and science and tech. These topics, these are very low hanging fruits, and rarely anyone focuses on that. It
Hmm.
should be your area that I do it in next 10 days. I am completing them because these are the areas where I'll write better answer than other people.
Hmm.
Because when your competitors are focusing on history and geography, which won't yield a lot of marks,
Hmm.
you're focusing on those areas which will give you marks. So
Hmm.
now your major portion, one reading have been done, like your uh, ethics is done, your optional is done, and these small portions have been done. Now you come back to GS2. Now
Hmm.
GS2 is also one of a very scoring area.
Absolutely.
So now you have to go through. Now you can't read Lakshmikant directly because now Lakshmikant is something which is more of a factual based. You have a lot of knowledge. So what you have to do is having Lakshmikant here or something.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So you just open it. Now you will have an index open, the
Hmm.
fundamental right. Now there will be subheading. You just have to go through subheadings only.
Right.
If there are any topics, you only go through subheading. And
Hmm.
whatever the things that you have highlighted already for the prelims, now you just have to brush these back. So
Right.
even if any topic from paper two comes, so you can give a brief introduction about what it is, then what is its significance, what
Hmm.
are its drawbacks, what steps government have taken, what
Hmm.
additional steps can be taken, and
Right.
then you can conclude with 17 sustainable development goals you have. So
Right.
I had made a mnemonic that CHHEG, IISC, WLJP. Now these are the 17 sustainable development
Right.
goals. P stands for
Hmm.
poverty, H stands for hunger, no poverty, no hunger. Then
Absolutely.
WEG, HVEG. So in a way you have to remember these things. So in an end you are going to write that if these steps are met, it will be beneficial for what with achieving the sustainable development goal number XYZ by 2030. So
Right.
now that gives examiner an insight that your answer is not extremely generic. It is
Hmm.
having some of the orders that they are seeking for. So you will get additional half mark more than your competitor. And if you get half mark in every question, so at the end of the paper, you're going to get 10 marks more than your competitor, and that will make the difference.
Yeah, and I guess that reflected
Then,
very well in your GS2 paper also. The marks you have scored is, I guess, 112, right? So that is fantastic.
yes, sir.
Right. So what would you tell about the Supreme Court case studies also in GS2 since you highlighted SDGs goal? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Now, SDG I mentioned for the society, social
Yes.
justice and
Social
governance
justice.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, now there are various judgments,
Mm.
but it's not necessary that you remember everything. Now, for example, if there are 10, 15 things which are going on in news, for example, if
Mm.
agriculture is going in news, so you just make a chart like this, and if there is agriculture, you should remember that Shanta Kumar committee can come. If there
Right.
is a banking uh, uh, reform, then you can have a list of, for example, Nandan Nilekani committee.
Mm.
Or if there is a special economic zone, then you can go for Baba Kalyani committee. So there
Mm.
will be some topics in news. For example, now homosexuality is there in news. So you can go with Navtesh Singh Johar, then Nalsa judgment. So
Mm.
Puttaswamy case, K.
Yes.
Puttaswamy case.
Right to
So you
privacy.
can highlight these things, and whenever you get time, just look at it. That if the word pops in, that agriculture word come in, I have to mention that Santa Kumar committee report.
Report.
If
Yeah.
ordinance come in, I have to mention DC Wadhwa. So
Mm.
these are some things that you write it down, and
Mm.
every day in newspaper some topics are going to come. For
Mm.
example, center state का कुछ टसल चल रहा है. So
Mm.
in that case, you can simply go for Punchi Commission report, Sarkaria Commission report. Uh,
Absolutely.
if government, uh,
Yeah.
so there will be judgments
Mm.
which will be coming in the news. There will be mention of the committees which will be coming. There will be important topics which will also come in the news. So as an aspirant, you do not need to mug up these facts, whatever the things are happening, but you have to take that name out of it, and then
Right.
you stick on your answer writing board. And whenever you get the time, you should have this thing. See, if there are topics with respect to any word that comes in, so
Mm.
you should have anything with respect to that. Okay,
Mm.
if anti-defection is going on, then you should have, okay, this is the particular case that I am going to write.
Mm.
52nd Amendment के बारे में आता है. So
Mm.
you have to understand. My
So
answer will
how
not be
did
different.
you collect all these committees, reports, and judgments you're talking about? Because that is the next question which every
Uh,
aspirant asks.
okay. So
Yes.
for example, I'll show you how I
Okay.
used to do.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Now you see this thing. This is my
Yeah.
board. So now this is sustainable development goals. So I would write a MDP,
Mhm.
multidimensional poverty index.
Right. Mm.
If I go to hunger, there will be a global hunger index.
Yeah.
If I go to life below, so I'll go with a mangrove.
Mm.
If there are happiness, then what if? So in a way, you make like material like
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
these
Notes like
these are,
these. Correct. Mm.
yes. So, and these are not something that you can do in a day. You have to take time. Whatever
Yeah.
the things that you are reading, when you are doing with
Hmm.
your GS, when you are doing with your test series, whenever you are coming through across anything, you write
Hmm.
it down. Now, it's not advisable that you will go, then you will find each and every name. Don't do that.
Right.
Just follow the process. Whenever you will find the name, then write it on there.
Absolutely.
So, in a way, whenever you will write the second name, you will read the first name.
Hmm.
Otherwise, what will happen if I give you the 20 names, you will write the 20 names and you will never revise it. But
Hmm.
if you will write those one name at a time, so whenever next time you'll write the third name, you will read the first name.
Yeah.
So when you reach the 20th one, you already know the 20 names.
Yes, and I guess that's one common thread I've observed across all the toppers who have cleared is that making such notes and keeping it as part of your reference book or stick it on in front of your study table and have that visualization every day when you're studying in front of your desk.
Yes,
So I
sir.
guess that constant application of your notes and the thought process you invest in that is very important. How did you practice answer writing? Well, this is what we do as part of our knowledge building. So what about answer writing? Did you join any test series, and how did you get yourself evaluated? Because that is the next question which everyone asks.
In 2021 means when I've written a lot of test series, but
Mhm.
all those were those test series which I had brought from the
Mhm.
Xerox shop.
Yeah.
So I called and I got the test series and I started writing the answers. And now I knew that these answers were not meeting the demand what it is asking.
Mhm.
What I used to do after writing an answer, uh, I would go back to the test series, and now I
Mhm.
would find what are the key areas that are would find what are the key areas that are there. For
Mhm.
example, if we talk about a topic, for example, citizen charter.
Mhm.
So, what first, what is my introduction and what is the introduction? So my introduction, I'm not comfortable in sharing first
Mhm.
few answers which I've written, but now first I will define here what citizen is. It is a set of commitment that an organization is giving to the
Mhm.
citizen.
Mhm.
Right? And it was first originated in London, and in India it does not have any legal backing as such.
Mhm.
Then we comes to the main body and we will write what is the significance of citizen charter.
Mhm.
So it ensures this public service delivery.
Mhm.
It ensures the timely delivery. It
Right.
fixes the accountability, fixes the
Mhm.
responsibility,
Mhm.
and it makes administration more citizen centric. So now
Yeah.
these are the five
Key
things
points.
that I have,
Yeah.
points
Mhm.
I have. Now I'll go to the issues or
Mhm.
shortcomings that citizen charter is.
Mhm.
What are the issues that it is? First issue it will be like lack of awareness. Second
Mhm.
will be you will rarely find any citizen charter in any office.
Mhm.
Third, it is not legally enforceable. Fourth, uh, the responsibilities are not fixed. Fifth, administration is itself overburdened. How can you expect a lot of more responsibility to be put on administration when it is already
Mhm.
overburdened?
Yeah.
Right. Then you come to the solution. So what solutions can be taken? Solution is first giving legal status to
Mhm.
citizen charters and which will ensure in fixing accountability in every department. Then
Okay.
what you can do, you can write an innovative solution for MO. Uh, there is an initiative, MO banking. So if
Mhm.
you go to Odisha, uh,
Mhm.
people will write their mobile number
Mhm.
outside every government office. And now that number, randomly any people will get a call from the office and they'll check for the quality of service that's it. So
Mhm.
now that is something which makes administration more responsible, more citizen centric, and
Right.
makes more awareness. So now
Yeah.
this is the way I understood as I answer with the listener.
So I think to sum
And
up, you have beautifully, structured your answer in such a way. In number one, you give the key points in your body. Obviously, introduction you talked about that will be based on whatever question you have at your disposal. But writing the key points is must, and coming out with innovative solutions and real life examples, which maybe not others will write, right? So, which are unique but relevant to the question, and that gives a way forward, right? Which is solution oriented. I guess that's the crux of answer writing you talked about, right? If I'm not wrong. So I guess that is a pattern which you have to follow for most of the questions, even if the question is negative, because at times people ask, how do you write for critically analyze? So even if the question is asking about critically analyze, it's not going to talk about the negativity. You have to give a positive outcome after talking about the cons of that issue as well. I guess that's what UPSC is looking into, whether you are able to give solutions. Yeah, you want to add something more to that?
uh, I think that was a sufficient answer that we have given.
Yes.
So I would ask if you have some real life examples, you should be able to picture it and
Hmm.
please put it
Okay.
into the
Yeah. Hey, Void, your
and
audio is getting stuck in between. You can just come to the yeah, yeah. Adjust your
is
microphone.
it fine, sir?
Yeah, yeah, now fine. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. So yes, that's the only thing, sir, that I would wanted to highlight.
Yeah. And how about GS4 ethics? Because that is also a scoring subject and you've also done well there. So, what
Uh,
sources did you read? And especially for case studies, how did you prepare?
uh, so there is a Vision IF module on case
Hmm.
studies. There are around 36, 38 case studies. So
Okay.
first you go through those case studies, and
Hmm.
now that format is outdated. Actually, this year UPSC have changed. I have changed the clothes
Hmm.
altogether. So
Hmm.
last year also the paper was very very lengthy.
Hmm.
You can take a basic understanding, go back to that material, revise it. You read the case study, what it is
Hmm.
demanding, and how that answer is met. So once you are aware of that particular thing,
Right.
now you can develop your thought process in such a way. Now,
Hmm.
people think that ethics is something which you have to read. But what I felt was ethics is something you should never read.
Mm-hmm.
And why I'm saying, sir, and why I'm saying it with all the responsibility, ethics is something which comes from yourself. It comes
Mm.
from within.
Yeah.
Yes, you can learn the definition. For example, what is attitude, what is aptitude, what is moral, what is ethics, and that definition is something you have to learn it so that you can reproduce. But what is ethics? Ethics is the basic understanding of what is right and what is not.
Mm.
And as an administrator, it is the, I believe, most important thing that you should be aware of that what is right and what is
Yeah.
not. And there will be situations. So, excuse me.
Mm.
So, during case studies also, you of course read the case study, address each and every point. For example, follow method. I have to follow stakeholder method. In
Mm-hmm.
a question, I'm following stakeholder method. So, what will that particular thing have impact on uh, stakeholder A, B, C? Then you go with society, country, individual,
Mm-hmm.
or you can go with what will have impact on administration, morale, policy
Mm-hmm.
making. So this is a stakeholder approach that you can follow. Uh, then at the same time, you have to bracket everything. Just make sure that whenever you're writing, just bracket it
Mm-hmm.
so that the examiner understands that you're addressing what I'm asking, what is being asked, and you have to focus on around 60 to 80 terminologies which are there for ethics. For example, accountability, transparency, uh,
Mm-hmm.
courage, sense of gratitude, sense of conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Those are something you have to put into your answer in such a way and highlight them so that the examiner, when reads your copy, he finds these or he or she finds these and
Mm-hmm.
that differentiates your copy from the other book. So that was the two things that I would want to highlight. And
Okay.
now also I would request that whenever you're doing, uh, if you have to follow the material, then there are the only IS original material 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They have the PDF or also at the Xerox shop. You can simply go with it. That material I personally found was sufficient.
Okay.
Uh, and if anything come out of it, I believe it should not bother a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Your answer should have real life example from your life or any story that you can tell, but
Mm-hmm.
don't make a very common story. Like make it a Berberible story. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I would
So I
want
think
to add.
examples and values which come out from those
Yes,
examples, I guess these two are the mantras for and making them very unique examples, like what you have done for GS2 as well. I would say unique, but to the point, right?
one thing I want to add here is
Mm-hmm.
case studies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, case studies are very important. You have to write them in GS2. Even you can add in GS3 some case studies, and GS4 you must add case studies. Because as an optional add with anthropology, we have a lot of case studies with respect to the tribals, the issues that
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yeah.
facing. So, and also the comparative methods of case study method which is there in anthropology, which
Mm-hmm.
helps me uh, have a have a structure of around 15-20 case studies.
Mm-hmm.
So case studies about why the toilets which were built failed in the Vidarbha region, why
Mm-hmm.
the irrigation facilities are inadequate in Maharashtra or Vidarbha region. So there are
Right.
a lot of issues that there are case studies which you have to
Mm-hmm.
write and make a brief highlighted box and mention that case study within 5 to 6 lines and try
Okay.
to write it smaller so that the examiner gets curious to look into it.
Hmm. Right. So presentation also matters, right? That is extremely important, which will fetch you one or two extra marks, and that creates a lot of difference, I
Definitely.
would say. Yeah. So
Yes.
that's something which you did uniquely, and that will add value to all those who are listening to this. And what about GS1 and 3 in general? What would you suggest the sources and where to read from?
I believe, I believe for GS1, for geography, you should just follow the material that you have followed for prelim. You don't need to add a lot more. So
Can
for
you be a bit
GS1,
loud? Sorry, because the voice is not clear.
yes, sir.
Now
Yes,
it's
sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is it fine?
Yeah. Now
Okay.
fine.
So for GS1, for particular geography, you should simply follow the same resources that you were following for
Mm-hmm.
prelims. So you don't need
Mm-hmm.
to add a lot of more. Just go 2-3 days of revision for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go for history, particularly modern. Now here you can go with the method of only reading the highlighted portion.
Mm-hmm.
So you only read the indices or the headings which are there.
Mm-hmm.
So if because UPSC will never ask a particular factual based prelim question. So what it is going to ask, it is going to ask what were the reasons for agricultural distress, and that too in a Deccan. So
Mm-hmm.
now that becomes a comprehensive part.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in that chapter, you have to find the list of the agricultural revolts which happened in that particular areas. Uh, then you have to sum up the reasons. What were the reasons? Which were the policies that were introduced?
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you have to proceed. Now, you do not need to focus upon which happened earlier, which happened later. You should have a basic idea that Kol, Santal revolts were tribal, and
Mm-hmm.
for others were the peasant revolt. So
Right.
just have these basic for social justice. So sorry, society.
Society.
Uh, society follow anyone's material. I
Mm-hmm.
would say probably as I personally have followed, there was just only a small module.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go with that module, so that will help you. It has a lot of answer writing fodder that
Mm-hmm.
will suffice. And the loopholes that we have, we can bring it with means 365
Mm-hmm.
and some test series also. Whatever the coaching institute that we are following, we
Okay.
definitely can work upon.
All right. And for GS3, what would you suggest? It was one
As
of the
I
most
mentioned,
tougher papers, and every topper has had problem scoring above 100. Very few have done that feat, but still, what would be your opinion about GS3?
my opinion will be in the first slot, just after your prelim, when you're completing ethics, essay, and your optional, you should
Mm-hmm.
also complete the small portion of CSE. For example, disaster management,
Mm-hmm.
science and tech,
Environment, yeah, economics.
environment. So these are
Mm-hmm.
the things that you should complete. Now you have to focus on economics, and for that you should have your crisp material, which you should have your uh, highlighted materials. And
Mm-hmm.
for economy, I did not use any
Mm-hmm.
different material as such. What I
Mm-hmm.
used to do is I would get few test series and I
Mm-hmm.
would go for reverse engineering, particularly on economy. Uh, because when any question that will come from economy will have a general, will be there in the current affairs. So you already have completed that. For this particular thing, you can also take the help of PT 365, the Prelims
Vision, yeah.
365 for economy. So
Okay.
now that material will also have the information which will be
Yeah,
important for you.
answer writing. Yeah,
So
me.
now you can take various. In a way, this was my basic strategy
Yeah.
for GS.
Yes. Okay. Let's come to optional, where you have done brilliantly, right? So, how would you guide the aspirants for having anthropology? Your success mantra for that.
My success mantra is that you have to believe that this is an easy subject, this is an interesting subject.
Yes.
Because if you won't believe it, you are already making it harder.
Yeah.
Then second, when you believe that okay, I'm going to do better in that, then
Mm,
you have to get the notes and you have to study it.
mm,
Third, once you have done it, once you have gone through the subject, you make your own notes. Now
okay.
you, in particularly on anthropology, if I talk about, the
Mm,
beautiful part about this that whole of the syllabus is in the point, is given in a point
mm,
bulletin.
right.
So on each and every point, you can make your precise notes.
Mm,
And for that, you take help of all the coaching material which are there, all the
okay.
internet which is there, and you
Mm,
make your own material, own notes in such a way
mm,
that these are the notes that's going to help you.
yeah.
And what I did exactly the same.
Mm,
I downloaded the copy, the
mm,
xerox of it, and then I put it in a Word, and then I started entering, putting the enter and the
mm,
spaces between the two particular names.
mm,
So I gave this much of size to each and every topic. The whole note became 45 pages,
okay.
front and back. And that was the notes which I revised 8 to 9 times between my that GS 5 days which we gave
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
last paper to that.
So one question
And I
is,
love it.
how did you prepare for optional? Did you complete it before your prelims, one reading or two reading at least, and then you revised? Yeah.
Uh, okay, I'm having it. I'll show you. I did
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly the same thing.
Hmm.
Uh, I did two readings before prelims, and that I
Hmm.
did in 2020. Then I
Okay.
did not touch my optional at all.
Hmm.
I just waited till I clear the prelims, and once got prelims, what I did, I made a plan from day 1 to day 30, and from day 30 to day 60.
Hmm.
That on this particular day, I'm going to complete 1.1 of optional, and I'm going to revise it on the same day, and I'm going to read it for two, three, four times.
Hmm.
So if I take the first point, I read that point, I marked it done. I read it again, I marked it second, then I read it again, and I marked it second,
Right.
and that's it. And I would just close my anthropology. My anthropology for today is good and done.
Hmm.
And I would keep the books away, and I would focus on that. Next
All right.
morning, again, I would make a point. Okay, today is 1.2, and I have to do 1.2. And now also 1.2, you can go with 1.2 A, 1.2 B, or in
Hmm.
1.2 C. So in a way, you break down whole syllabus and make it so compact that you would
Hmm.
say, "I'm going to finish it," and it wouldn't be like I'm allowing you to finish.
Yes.
So whenever you look at optional, it's like a mountain that you have to break in. But you have
Hmm.
to be manchi for that. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
break you into so smaller pieces that no one would know and you will be broken. So that is
Yes.
something that I did.
Fantastic. And
And
any
yes,
reference material? Yeah, that is a question which
uh,
I've been asked by a lot of students. Yeah.
okay, I'll share all the references. First,
Hmm.
as I mentioned, sir, I made my own notes,
Yeah.
particularly for every topic.
Hmm.
Secondly, 2019 Vijaytha IAS Academy के previous they had test series which is
Hmm.
freely available on
Hmm.
various Xerox stores. So I
Hmm.
had brought that, and that also helped me covering around 30-40% of my syllabus. Now
Okay. Hmm.
that is very good. So you should do it only after you have studied complete anthropology.
Hmm.
Then
Okay.
you
That
should
is
go with
Vidisha, right? You mentioned Vidisha.
Vijaytha,
Vijaysa.
Vijaytha
Okay.
IAS.
Okay. Hmm.
I'm not. I will definitely give them the due credit that they deserve
Yeah, that's
because
fine. I mean,
they have.
yeah.
Uh, that was a material which was freely available
Hmm.
2019 test.
Okay.
So you can definitely go. And if there are any test series material which is available, I would
Hmm.
ask students if it is test series, grab it and go for reversing it.
Okay.
Because now the answer written in that test will be as per the needs of UPSC. So
Hmm.
you get a tailor-made font. You can definitely get a lot of things from it, and you will
Hmm.
learn answer writing from there.
Hmm.
And yes, what different I did, which I think helped me, was the method that I follow in answering.
Yeah.
So one method that I say is a method I name it as please method or pleaser method. P stand for political, legal, economic, ecological. A stand for architectural, and
Okay.
L stand for again literature.
Hmm.
E again stand for that economy, and R stand for religion. So all
Fantastic.
these areas you can write it in. So if I'm writing an answer and a person is writing an answer, and I'm mentioning these points that
Hmm.
are there and that have been also presented well. Now that will help you fetch better
Hmm.
marks definitely. So now this is one method. Second, you go with stakeholder method. Third, you add a case study, which is most important. अगर आप
Yes.
case study नहीं लिख रहे हो, your answer is already you're getting half mark lesser, half to
Okay.
1 mark lesser.
So case studies is
Fourth,
important, right? Very important for
very
anthropology.
important,
Hmm.
very important. Now some of the pages, when I came back, my nephew had toned it down. Uh,
Oh.
so there
No
were
worries.
some things that I actually wanted to show you. So what I used to do whenever I'm reading, I will find
Yes.
the name of a tribe. For
Okay.
example, if I'm studying marriage, I'll
Hmm.
find a community, Neo community. I'll find Asante tribe. Uh,
Hmm.
I'll find XYZ. So whenever I find a new tribe, I'll immediately write on the.
Okay.
And what I
That's
used to
fine.
do, I never wrote more than three or two tribes in a single day.
Hmm.
So whenever I used to write the second one, I would read the first one.
Hmm.
So whenever homosexuality will come,
Hmm.
Azante tribe will come in my mind.
Hmm. Hmm.
So because it is in a way that I structured my mind to remember this thing with this. If
Okay.
this comes, you have to remember this.
So
So
correlate the
that
various
is something.
tribes with various issues. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
And then various problems that the various tribes are facing in
Yeah.
India. For example, displacement, indebtedness, nutritional problem that they are
Hmm.
facing,
Hmm.
educational backwardness,
Hmm.
and a lot many that we probably never know.
Yeah.
So, whenever you find a mention in tribe, for example, a malnutrition case study of Melghat that you have told me, I was not aware about it. The
Hmm.
problems of the tribals of Nasik
Hmm.
uh, that was happening over there. Even in Nagpur, there was a 1992 sort of
Yeah. And I guess this is where
incident happened.
newspaper reading and being in touch with the issues which tribals are facing right from the past to the present is important, I guess.
Yes,
Yes. So, yeah, that is a
that helps
fantastic.
you
Mm,
in writing a better answer.
yeah. And that's what I mean. All these points are really paid off, and that reflects in your excellent score as well. And those who just want to know about his marks, he has scored around 131 in the first anthropology paper and 159 in second paper. So at 290, that is, I mean, a genius score, I would say, when it comes to optional, because anything above 280 plus is very good score. I would say 270, 280 plus is fantastic score. So kudos to you, Pratik, for guiding so well, and I'm sure this will, give as act as a lighthouse for all those who are giving anthropology. Let's come to interview, the last but not the least part of the important stage of UPSC preparation, right? So, how did you face the board, and what was your experience with regards to the interview being conducted? And how did you score a good mark? So Pratik has scored 163, I guess, right? 162 something. That is a good score, right? Anything above 155, 160 plus is definitely a good score. Yeah.
Actually, first I was not satisfied with the score.
Yeah, that's
Secondly, I
true.
would start my journey. In the beginning, I had a lot to talk, but I didn't know how to articulate it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and one teacher, there is one teacher. I'm sure you're aware about him,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kedar Kulkarni. He's a good person. So
Okay.
he,
Okay.
he was very instrumental in spearheading the journey of interview preparation. So I started my journey with him. And
Yes.
every day, every alternate days, we used to sit and he would prepare me for the mocks. He would ask me the questions, and that is how our journey started. And
Right.
that is how also I believe now he knows a lot more about me than myself.
Yeah, no, but you are the
Everything
one who
about
gave the interview, right? So, Kedar Kulkarni just helped you in the brief. And he helped you laid the foundation. You are the one who have built on that. So
yes,
definitely,
yes,
it is your efforts
yes.
as well.
I believe the building is as good as its builder. And
Yes.
he always says that we have this squirrel shares Haruta Vata. But I believe
Yes.
that is the utter lie that he speaks.
No, and that's not a lie. I mean
I
it.
I am I assure you, sir, that's the
Yes.
utter lie that he has way more contribution that he puts and more credit that he personally would want to take for himself. So kudos to him for his uh, honest efforts towards the interview. And yes, sir, my experience was
Hmm.
I felt that I could have scored better.
Yeah.
I I felt things could have gone even better, and I was hoping better because in the beginning, yes, my interviews were not going great, but at the when I was coming to the final of the mocks,
Hmm.
I was scoring 30, 40 marks better than what I got.
Okay.
So I really didn't know what went wrong, but I'm happy that it didn't went a lot wrong. It could have gone
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yes, in a way, I'm happy that whatever I got with it.
Yeah, I mean that's a good
They were
score, in spite of the fact that you felt it didn't start off on a good note. But I guess the way you pulled yourself back into the interview is something which is very creditable, and one should learn from that as well. Those who are watching this, that if the start is not well, it's also about how you pick yourself up, right, and end it on a good note. I guess that's what. Anything else you want to share
uh,
about the interview and how you should, attempt the questions?
an interview, whenever you're going and whenever you're talking there, you have to precisely pick up your words because each
Yeah.
word opens a plethora of questions.
Mm-hmm.
First, be thorough with your data because
Mm-hmm.
if these people are interesting in you, or interested in you, or
Mm.
interested to know about you, they will lift up your DAF and they will now ask anything from the DAF. Uh,
Yes.
if they are not interested in your DAF, that is also perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They'll ask you straightforward. They will fire questions. They will
Mm-hmm.
not even go for the formality of please introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No, that didn't happen with me. It started right from the question.
Mm-hmm.
So it might happen that you would get a bit scared, but you have to be confident. You can take deep breaths.
Mm.
You can relax yourself,
Yes.
and you can look into the eye, and you can just need to remember one thing, that why I am sitting here
Mm-hmm.
and what was my purpose of starting it. And if I didn't do right today, it
Mm.
might happen that whole of my hard work, my consistency, and the sacrifice
Yes.
that I made will go in vain.
And I
So
always
ask
say
yourself,
that, yeah, and I always say that UPSC is like a snake and ladder game. You go up to the interview,
yes,
and still you don't find your name in the list. That is the most disheartening thing. And I mentioned the same about Vasant also, with whom we'll have one more conversation, that he felt similarly disheartened. It's fine if you don't go up to prelims, mains, वहां तक गए और नहीं हुआ तो भी बुरा लगता है, लेकिन जो इंटरव्यू के बाद देने के बाद भी अगर नाम लिस्ट में नहीं आता है, दैट इज मोर डिसहार्टनिंग. And I guess that maybe that thought process you overcame, and you found yourself in the final list. That is a great achievement in itself, Pratik. So thanks a lot for your guidance. Anything else, any message you'd like to give to those who are preparing for the first time or maybe for the nth time, how to pull up their socks and not give up on their preparation?
remember one mantra.
Mm. Your voice, can you please hold your microphone? Yeah, close. Yeah.
I yes.
Mm. Mm.
Uh, there's only one mantra that I want to give to aspirants, and
Mhm.
that mantra is consistency is the key.
Yes.
And there is no alternative to your hard work. No
Mhm.
one will spoon feed you. As
Mhm.
I always say to anyone, uh, this is a journey that we have to walk, we have
Mhm.
to run, but
Mhm.
we have to do it on our own feet. There's no vehicle, no lesser or greater vehicle that can take us. So there
Mhm.
is a road. People, uh, for example, teachers, they are just like guides. They'll
Right.
tell you that from this road you have to go to that particular point,
Point
take
B.
right, take left.
Correct. Mm.
Yes, they will guide you. You have to take right, you have to take left. But eventually, it is you who have to
Yes.
walk and run on that same path.
Path. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
imagine why you want to do it.
Yes.
And when you find your why, you will automatically find a way how you will reach. So first you find
Absolutely.
your why, and you will know how you have to.
Yes,
So
so
on this note,
we
I would
started
like to
this
conclude.
interview on the very first premise of why you want to join the civil services, and that always should be your constant motivation to prepare for this examination. Many say that is it worth to prepare for this examination, and I guess Pratik will be the best person to tell you that after clearing this exam, it is definitely worth to all the years of hard work which you have put into. Just one last point, which many might ask also regarding, did you have any plan B, right? Let's say after all this efforts you have taken for these years, you didn't have anything. What was your plan B? And should one really prepare for that? Yes.
I talked to a few toppers. Uh, they say that having plan B gives them an escape.
Mm-hmm.
I had practically no plan B. For
Okay.
me, either you make it or break it,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something uh, I was willing to put few more years into it, few more years into it, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
willing to put more years.
Okay. Microphone,
What
please.
I personally,
Yes.
yes, yes, sir. So
Mm-hmm.
what I personally think is that yes,
Mm-hmm.
it is worth because
Mm-hmm.
the quality. Uh, when the result was declared, my father was talking on a phone for 3 straight days. My father is retired from army in
Mm-hmm.
2000.
Mm-hmm.
30 his friends 30 years back, friends from 30 years back, they started calling, they started getting numbers. A lot of people, hundreds of people visited my home. uh, Thousands of people placed my photo on stickers on the banner, and that is something of a feeling that you want to live at least.
Yes.
Um, my father, I just heard him saying, one of my teacher visited today, so he was saying कि भाई साहब मैंने तो 3 दिन में अपनी जिंदगी जी ली है पूरी.
Oh.
So now that line, I would have done anything in my life, but I wouldn't have heard that line from him ever. Now sitting on the side of table, and now felicitating others.
Mm.
Now that is a journey. Like since childhood, we used to take certificates from some chief guest, and
Yes.
yesterday, day before that, I was a chief guest somewhere. My
Yes.
parents were sitting beside me, uh, and that is a moment which no money can buy,
Absolutely.
and that is your personal achievement, I believe. Apart
Mm.
from this, as you mentioned, this opportunity has the potential,
Mm.
uh, I believe, the
To create a
the change,
change, right? I mean, absolutely.
bring change,
Yeah.
and I believe I'm going to welcome it with the both of my hands
Yeah.
and definitely be the change.
Yes, and I'm sure that you are going to be the change and bring the change. Pratik is his DAF is versatile. Someday we'll talk about his DAF. He's an NCC gold medalist, he's an NCC silver medalist, and so many things he has. And I started this interview on the very first premise of what his status is, right? That be the reason someone smiles. And you have seen that right through this session also, he answered all the questions with a smile on his face, in spite of the fact he was emotional at many points. But that is his spirit that has helped him pull himself out through all these years of efforts. And when you are pushed against the wall, that is the time when you are hardest, you push yourself the hardest, right? And that force is something which Pratik has rightly been able to channelize, I would say direct, and the result is in front of you. So thank you so much, Pratik, for all the guidance, words of wisdom, and the the fantastic attitude you have in dealing with the failures and coming out successfully, right? And I wish you all the best. This is just one part of the life journey has ended, but the major journey has now started, and I wish you all the best for serving our country with all your might and your skills. Jai Hind. Thank you so much, Pratik,
Jai
and
Hind,
thank you
Jai
so
Hind.
much to all the
Thank
viewers.
you.